heaviest I've ever squatted was 60 kgs, and that was over a year ago. I think if I just quickly work it out, maybe like a year and a half ago, yeah. I would say okay-ish, didn't feel like strong. Also not many reps. I think that probably would have been 2 to 3 reps max, but not feeling completely the lower body working.
Today we are here with Ella Collins, and we are going to look at her squat. So it's something that I've become very good at over the years as a powerlifter, and it's something that most people, even if they've been squatting for many, many years, aren't quite doing right. So today we're going to look at Ella's squat and see how we can perfect it and make sure that she's no longer getting any issues with back pain and some of the other problems that she's found that she's having over the years. Okay, so we're going to watch Ella do a squat the way she would normally do them in the gym. Is what's happening with her back angles. Now you can see there's some extension through the spine, some butt wink we call it, of tucking underneath at the bottom, and going back into the rack is fine. Yeah. So when I see some of those things with this like movement through the lower back, these give me some cues that we may have some issues with bracing, so an inability to activate the core muscles that we need to stabilize. I'm also noticing that there's a lack of tension through the upper back, and we may also need to change sometimes the positions of the feet and some other things so we can find a more ideal position for Ella's squat. So let's go to talking about bracing, because this is the first thing we should do before we even think about what a squat should look like. So one of the first things people struggle with is that they don't understand how to activate the core muscles. So a coach says to them, brace, but the idea of bracing doesn't make any sense if you've never experienced it before. Ella was telling me earlier that she's had physios telling her just use your core, but until we started practicing some drills, it was the first time that she was able to feel that. So we're going to show you that drill that I use. So Ella's going to lie on the floor here, and she's going to come up into practically a squat position. So she's got her feet at about 90 degrees around the width of her squat stance. And right here, she's going to pull her lower back down into the ground as hard as possible. Now you'll notice her tailbone comes slightly off the floor. Now here I'm going to ask her to take a big breath in through the nose, and as she exhales, I want her to brace, so pushing out as hard as she can through her external obliques, her transverse abdominis and her low abs, and you'll notice this all expands all the way around. Now I'm going to get you to breathe in again and try not to let go of the tension. Exhaling here. Now I'd like you to think about trying to breathe here into your diaphragm more than your chest. Yes. And then exhaling again. Try not to let go as you breathe each time. And exhale. While she's doing this, she's also pushing into her heels. So she's pushing her legs away as though she's in the bottom of a squat. One more breath. And exhale. Good, and rest. So now we've found those core muscles. The thing that you will have noticed is that we were trying to maintain that tension through the core. So if you're standing, that's going to look like dropping the ribs towards the hips. And as you breathe in, we're trying to breathe air all the way through. So it's actually expanding 360 degrees all the way through. And then we're trying to maintain that tension through the breaths. So what happens often is people will breathe in, they find the tension, and as soon as they breathe or they stop thinking about it, the tension lets go. Now, if you have 150 kilos on your back and you lose the tension, then you're going to hurt your back. So we are aiming to learn how to maintain this tension even though we're breathing possibly talking, whatever is going to happen. So this exercise on the floor is how we start to learn how to breathe whilst bracing, and then we can add in moving as we progress. So what we're looking for is we're trying to get to our neutral spine. So is you're standing where you feel comfortable for your squat stance. Now we're going to breathe in, and as we exhale, we're going to drop into that neutral position. So we're going to breathe in, dropping the ribs. You see this shortening, and we're coming into a more straight position here. Tuck your butt under a little bit more. There we go. Now we're going to try and maintain this position as we squat. So breathe in and squat. Yes, good. And then exhale as you come up. Don't let go of this. Good. See how this stays straight? That's much better. Good. Breathe. Brace and maintaining position. Good. And coming up. Good. We're looking to see that there's no movement here in the lower back. We get the bar onto your back. Now, when you're squatting a little bit more in a forward lean, which means a low bar position is probably going to be a stronger position for you. So when I see someone, if someone's naturally quite an upright squatter, then a high bar is probably going to be a good position for them. And they'll often be people who like Olympic weightlifting and stuff. If you're someone like yourself who's got really long femurs, that's going to mean that your hips have to travel further back, which is going to force your torso further forward, which means it's going to be harder for you to have a very upright squat. So what we can do by moving the bar slightly further down, it's going to bring it closer to your center of gravity and make it easier for you to squat the movement.
And that's why I really love low bar squats.
So what I'm thinking about when I go in to get the bar into my back is I'm thinking about first, how tight can I get the bar? Your width of your grip is going to vary depending on your mobility of your shoulders. So I have quite a narrow stance here, and I pull it in really super tight, but you may be a bit wider. So we'll find where your grip is. What we want to do is find where your grip is and then never vary it. Essentially the steps, we want to get to the point where every time you step up to the bar, you know where you're going to hold, and you're going to go through like a step-by-step process so that it's like exactly the same every time you squat. The first step is literally grabbing the bar and squeezing it and like pulling it apart. That's telling your body already, like I'm getting ready to fight. And it's going to start turning on all the muscles. So you're going to grab the bar and squeeze, and then bringing it in, you're literally going to pull it in as tight as you can into your lower back. From there, you'll step your feet in so you're directly under the bar. So notice how tight I am in my upper back. Okay, so I'm pulling the bar down into my back. From here, I'm going to tuck my butt and brace.
So this is where you're actually already embracing.
So you want to make sure you brace before you ever have weight on your back. Does that make sense? Because you can't get tension after you've stood it up. Okay?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So you're going to step in just like that. Pull the bar into your back, get it underneath, brace, big breath, stand up. Okay, so that's the first step. Once you're there, you go 1, 2, and your third one is just to reposition your feet. Okay? Okay, so grabbing the bar tight, stepping in under, pulling it in as tight as possible, good. Now you're going to tuck the butt underneath, probably feet slightly closer under. So literally bend the legs, tuck down a little bit more, just a little bit more of a squat. There we go.
Under the bar is too high.
Okay, it might be squeeze. Okay, now stand up. Okay, 1, 2, take another big breath. Okay, good. So put it back into the rack. Good. Okay, we'll do it one more time.
That's a lot to focus on.
It is.
But you don't normally like think about it, you know. For me, always it's Okay, yeah, getting my hand grip in, getting a strong lift, stepping out, always the same like you just did. But it's that here, bracing the core.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and did you notice that difference? And it's very common with bodybuilders is they go, here, oh, yep, I'm ready to squat.
Yeah.
Now, there's no way when you're doing this, you're getting your tension.
Yeah, no.
So it's...
I think there's a lot of people pick up bad habits.
Oh yeah.
From watching, especially like when you're watching Olympic lifters, or you're watching athletes online, the way they lift, and you think like, oh, but they do it this way, so
it's also like, if you're an athlete who's been doing it for thousands and thousands of hours, like 10,000 hours, right? So me squatting a 60 kilo bar is literally like, I can do that without properly bracing and things because it's not that heavy for me.
Yeah.
So often we see things online and think, oh, look, that person's doing that, but that's like practically a warm-up weight for someone. Now, if you look at them when they're doing a really heavy weight, you'll see that they're much more intentional with the process. And this is the thing, we don't look at things in context. We just go on like, oh, look, I saw someone do this random exercise, and we don't think, but why were they performing that exercise? Maybe it's rehab or prehab for them. Maybe they have some really specific thing in their lift, and that's why their coach has prescribed it. And instead we go, oh, look, they're doing this like weird like back exercise. It must be the best thing we should ever do. And it's like...
Basically, moral of the story is don't just follow anyone on social media.
Exactly.
Do what they do.
All right, let's go one more time. Just grab the bar. So I like to have my thumb all the way around.
Oh yeah, okay, so yes.
Yeah.
For me, this is how I live. This is like my comfortable like.
So I want you to try.
I'll do it with the thumb underneath. Yeah. Okay. See, not a bad habit, but just I feel I've got better control of a bar like that way. Okay.
Good. Really pulling that into your upper back. Good. Tucking. Bend the legs a little bit more so you're more upright in the torso.
See?
So just like there.
Okay, like that.
Good. Keep this tight. Ribs in a little bit more. That was your best rep so far. One more. Okay, rock it in. So the next thing that we want to think about after we've done we've got our unrack, we've got our walk back, 3 steps. Which the 3 steps you're doing is really good. You're doing a nice 3-step walk back. Often you'll see people that we're going for a stroll.
Yeah.
And when you have a lot of weight on your back, you want to minimize the amount of time you have to stay with tension on the spine.
Yeah.
So that the efficiency is like the smaller amount of distance we can travel with the bar, the better. Now, once we are doing the squat, I want you to imagine with your feet. So I want you to think like you're spreading your toes through the floor. I want you to feel your big toe, your little toe, and your heel. So as we're squatting, we're trying to feel the weight here in the middle of the foot. Okay? So we don't want our weight in the heel or on our toes. We want to feel like our weight's evenly distributed right here, just at the front of the ankle. And then while you're there, feeling that weight in balance right in the center of your ankle.
Yeah, I feel it, yeah.
Yeah? Now I also want you to imagine, like if you're standing on a towel, you're trying to push the towel and spread it apart.
Okay.
Did you feel your glutes turn on then?
Just there.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So what we want to feel is as we're squatting, we've got that core braced, we've got that pressure all the way through the foot. And then as we squat, we want to spread the floor all the way down and all the way back up. So this is where the cue of knees out goes wrong sometimes. Because people, instead of getting that tension all the way through the leg, they do this, which disengages through the foot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the small little thing of like feeling you're pushing the floor away.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to try and feel that through the squat.
Okay.
Like so many things to think about.
Okay, is there any difference for people that are like, I've got like not flat feet, my bridge like is flat.
So what you'll notice is like when you put your foot there, and as soon as you sort of bend and push the floor apart, see how your arch lifts?
Yeah.
So it fixes the problem.
Oh my God.
So, and this is one of the other reasons why barefoot shoes are really good. So, and just being barefoot. So the muscles in our feet and like the arch of your foot will start to strengthen and develop when it's able to work.
Incredible.
So it's another of the reasons why I often get people who are like, I've got hip issues and I've got knee issues, but then when I take their shoes off, their feet don't work.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can be as simple as, let's teach the muscles in your feet to work, and then the other things that are happening further up the chain just go away.
I like this whole thing that works. Okay, let's do this again.
Yes.
All those points to remember.
Okay, so I'll talk you through it. Good, nice tight. Yeah, very good. Very good. So I want you to just bend the knees, so be in a little bit more of a squat. Okay, so you're slightly over exaggerating here. So you're right now, let me show you. It may be this squat rack should probably be slightly higher for you, but this one would be too high.
Yeah, that
so
one's too high, yeah.
Essentially you're here and you're sort of arching a bit too much, so you're going to need to just bend, like shoot the knees forward a little bit more, just so you can be a little bit more straight with the torso when you stand up. Yeah, it'll take the pressure out of the lower back. Get that really tight in the back. Good. Core, and then thinking about spreading the floor as we go down. And spreading it as we come up. Yes. See how straight this part of the back looked? Good. And push. Good, one more. Very nice. How's that balance feel? Good. You can rack it. Good.
And I could feel like
Glutes.
actually for the first time activate. Wow. I can feel everything here is engaged.
Yeah.
So it's like it's locked in. I've never felt my upper body actually work when you're thinking you're working a squat. But upper body is working as well.
Yeah, very much. So would you like to try putting some weight on the bar?
Yeah.
What's the max you've ever squat? Start with 40 kilos, but what's the heaviest you've ever squat?
I used to do 20 on each side,
Okay.
but I think I'll go heavier than 15 on each side now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the heaviest you've ever done is like 15 kilos on each side, so like 50 kilos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime recently, or you just lose control and you can't.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna see today how we can go with just focusing on these like cues and see if we can get to a place where you're doing at least the weight that you've been doing before, but feeling like much more in control.
Yes.
Okay, so same process, and let's just like do 2 reps, 2 or 3 if it feels good.
Yeah.
And just thinking about all the same cues. Don't be in a hurry to get through it.
Yeah, probably going to take my time with this. So I want to make sure I'm doing it right. Okay.
Breathing again. And remember, pushing the floor away. Yes, nice and strong. Very good. Good breathing. Good. And racket.
Wow. A lot better. I think stronger actually with that. I mean, I probably won't do 10 reps like that because it's more.
Because right now it's
on.
thinking about this.
Yeah.
You'd be able to do that easily in a few weeks. So what I would recommend for you is doing like the floor breathing, bracing exercises every day until it becomes supernatural to you.
Yeah.
And then practicing, so like when you're doing deadlifts, when you're doing squats, even when you're doing light stuff, can I feel this active? So I'm like, when I'm doing like single leg things, when I'm doing like, can I actually feel the muscles engaging? Until it becomes so natural that you just, as soon as you get into position, it's already on. Like I'm bracing while I'm talking to you and I don't have to think, are the muscles working?
It becomes second nature. It's more the practice of.
Yeah.
But that felt better in the sense of body control.
The weight didn't feel heavy for you though, did it? So let's see if we just get 2 really nice reps here. And again, when you get to the bottom, you don't need to like pause down there. So you go here. As soon as you get to the bottom, use that to come straight back up. Okay. The longer you're down the bottom, the harder it is to come up.
That's exactly what I was feeling in the previous one.
Oh no, yeah. I saw you slowed down on that rep and I was like, oh, it's getting harder now. Good. Yes, very nice. Big air. Very nice. Good. Yeah. Beautiful. Big breath. Try that sharp exhale as you come up.
Okay.
Beautiful. Did you notice the difference when you breathe then?
Yeah. I think also the last one, I don't know if I lost control there of my core. I think I lost control of my core.
So the first rep was really nice. How did that feel?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing is as we start like practicing the movement, you'll notice like, oh, that felt good, that didn't. So part of being...
I actually, for the first time, didn't feel the weight. I'm just thinking about it now. I didn't feel the weight.
That's
I felt my body just being like locked in.
Good.
And I was focusing on that pushing away. It didn't feel like there was, like normally when I do squats, and I even have just 10 kilos on each side, I feel it. And then when I have a program to follow, I'm like, oh my God, I do like 8 reps of these. I'm gonna struggle, but this felt really strong and I didn't feel weight.
Yeah.
I was more focused and controlled here because I had the support.
Yeah.
But I didn't even feel that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Don't stress, you're just gonna go through exactly the same thing. One thing you'll notice, so even though you felt like you lost tension on the last one, the bar moved much faster. When you do that sharp exhale on the way up, and when you like do things like, it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, your fight and flight response. So it tells your body, I'm in a fight and I need to be aggressive. If you're like, if you're like super quiet or you're holding your breath, it makes it harder.
Okay.
But if you felt the tension go, like you know what's happening in your body.
Yeah.
So your position was good, but you can still have a good position and not be as tight as you know you can be. And this is one of the things I tell my clients is like, I'm trying to like build your internal coach so that you can do it and go, oh, that didn't feel right. I didn't do this, this, and this, and this. Yeah. So you don't need someone to watch you. You can just say after you've done it, oh, I didn't brace hard enough, or I lost my tension in my upper back. those are things that if you're paying attention to yourself, you can cue without needing someone else to tell you.
Of course, because you're the one that knows your body.
Yeah. Big breath. Awesome. Good. And right. Oh, she's feeling so good. She wants to keep going.
Yeah, actually, that's what I mean. Like, I don't feel I'm struggling with this.
Yeah. So we're just going to go and take these off and put another 10 straight on, and we're going to go for 60 kilos and see how it feels.
It feels good. It actually really feels good when you the proper bracing. It does feel like you don't feel the weight as much.
But also the fact that you said just this week your back was hurting.
Yeah.
And you're doing like as heavy as you've ever done, not in pain.
I psych myself like this.
Woo! Yeah! So on this rope, if it does start to feel heavy, be a little louder in the exhale on the way up. Just be like, if you've got to fight for it, fight for it. It won't, I don't think it's going to be heavy for you.
It's like in your mind kind of thing.
You have to know that you're going to be able to lift it. As soon as if you go into the lift thinking, oh my God, it's going to be heavy, it's going to be hard, I don't know if I can do this, like your body won't be able to do that.
You're basically psyching yourself out. You're
Exactly.
telling yourself you cannot do it.
So mindset is massively important.
Yeah.
But of course, you can have the best mindset in the world, but if you don't have the details, then it's like, well, what am I gonna... Beautiful. Great. One more.
There you go. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's probably been a year since I've done that.
Congratulations.
There's so much, this is the actual proper way of learning how to activate and grow the glutes.
Awesome.
I have been trying to get back to 60 kgs, but actually trying to get heavier than that. But it's been a challenge for me, mainly because I've been struggling with very tight hips, lower back pain, and my quads are always just like really, really tight. And whenever I go into warming up, stretching, warm-up squats, I still feel like even just with like a bar alone, it's the same challenges. Like I feel the lower back kicks in immediately, the tight hips, and also like my quads. So the maximum I have been going for the last few months has just been like 40 kgs, which is, for me, yeah, not been great. Really not been great. Okay, so lying down and bracing the core, feeling my hips lift up, like I could actually feel the fire up is activating immediately. From before, where you just normally would just stand and you think that you're bracing your core, you don't feel that fire up feeling, basically. So yeah, I could feel it completely bracing in, like what I'm doing now. I'm just gonna keep practicing it. Oh, today was just absolutely amazing. I think for the first time, I've learned what it actually is to brace your core, and like not just bracing, but you're breathing as well whilst your core is in that brace position. and I have squatted today 60 kgs, which I've done over a year and a half ago, and I still don't even feel like the weight on my back. I think I probably can now with the new like techniques that I've learned today, probably improve my squats and volume, like improving on my lifting volumes now. So I'm quite excited. I'm really, really excited. I'm actually really happy. I'm so happy. Like I felt my, not only by bracing my core that it fires up, but my glutes was working. I didn't once feel like my quads was taking over my squats. It was my glutes working and my core was fired up the whole time, which is why I think also I didn't feel the weight so much that was distracting me from my form and doing the squats. So yeah, massive like thank you to Jess. Where have you been all my life? Like really, it's been great. What else can you teach me? What's next? Yay! I think from just the one thing, I think like the biggest learning point for me today was like bracing your core. So I'm gonna practice that. Straight after this, I've got actually some time before clients, so I'm gonna keep practicing that. And I'm gonna use the same teaching points for when I'm doing my deadlifts, my hip thrusts, everything like lunges, everything else for lower body. I'm gonna use exactly the same teaching points now, so I can feel and improve on my training now. So yeah, excited.